Folks here have been great. We were very disappointed that we didn't get a chance to run in the primary in North Carolina. There were all sorts of polls coming out of North Carolina almost throughout the whole campaign that had us in really good shape here. Even when we weren't that popular, we were doing well in North Carolina. So I felt really bad we didn't get a chance to run here. But I want to thank the legislature for moving your primary up to right after the South Carolina primary. Not that I'm running, I'm not making any announcements. but should I run, that is certainly an incentive for me to consider running. The fact that I get to campaign here, and I had some family here in North Carolina for many, many years. My uncle lived here after World War II. He came to North Carolina. He went to North Carolina State. I know that's a mixed thing. Anyway, so I would come down and visit him when I was a kid. But it's you have a great example of how conservative leadership can really, if given the ability to govern, can do just that, govern, and do it responsibly, make real changes. I know not everybody, I'm sure, is happy with the extent of the change. Nobody always is, but the fact that the record that Dan just laid out of what's been accomplished here in a very short period of time, when you got the reins of control, can show you that what can happen if people coalesce together and give conservatives the opportunity to govern. We're not seeing that in Washington, D.C. right now. What's the untold story of Washington, D.C. is a complete lack of leadership. You have a president of the United States who does not want to lead. He wants to transform this country. He wants to divide, and he wants to attain more and more power. This is something you need to sort of keep in the back of your mind as to how Barack Obama is governing this country. His role model, I said this from the very day that he ran for office, and I went out and started campaigning against him. I said his role model is FDR. And you think, well, FDR is really popular, and he did a lot of great things. What FDR did was understand the psyche of the American public. And if you think of what FDR accomplished, FDR took the position of president at the beginning of the Depression. And through his entire term, up until World War II, he got elected 3 times, re-elected twice. Through the entire period of time, we were in a depression. Yet he kept winning elections. The economy kept getting worse. In fact, in his second term, was the highest level of unemployment was in his second term. And he kept getting re-elected. How is that possible? And I think we all see that, is that when the economy is really bad, people are insecure and traumatized. And when you have a leader that's going up there and saying, I'll take care of you, and then you have someone up there saying, look, pick up your bootstraps, you can do this. I mean, you need opportunity and freedom. If you're one of those folks who's insecure and unstable, if you're the 50.1%, who are you going to vote for? And that's their model. It's not a model. You say, well, look at what he's doing. He's putting all these regulations in, he's putting all these taxes in, and he's doing all these things to hurt the economy. Of course he is. Because he doesn't see that as a bad thing. Now, I'm not saying he's deliberately hurting the economy. What he's doing is putting in provisions that he thinks are right, which is for the elite in Washington to control the country. And the more power in Washington, the better. He believes that. Now, you can say it's unfounded. It's an unfounded belief, and if you look at any other country in the world, it doesn't work. They don't see it that way. They look at America fundamentally different than the people in this room do. If you want to know the thing that drives me crazy about what's being covered in Washington today is the idea that this is a political fight. The idea that this is a petty fight, or this is a fundamental fight as to what nation we are going to live in. That's what's going on here, and the reason you're seeing such division is because there is such division. You have a president who has a fundamentally different model of what America should be. He said it, I want to transform America. From what to what? And the answer is actually pretty simple, but we don't have the courage to go out and talk about this. One of the reasons I think I did as well as I did in the campaign is I actually went out and talked about this. I actually wrote a book. I actually did a video after the campaign about this. It's a fundamental difference as to what revolution we descended from. The American Revolution or the French Revolution? If you want to get down to the brass tacks of what you want America to be, you have to look at those two revolutions, because one revolution spawned America. The other revolution spawned Western Europe. So when you say Barack Obama is a European socialist, understand what that means. The French Revolution was about 3 words: liberty and equality. But the third word was fraternity, which means brotherhood. What does that mean? Well, let's contrast that to the American Revolution. Ultimately, what was the American Revolution about? It was about a lot of different things until a document was written that solidified America and has been the anchor for this country since its adoption. And that's the Declaration of Independence.